The day I accidentally became a hero, I was mostly just trying to avoid being eaten. Let me back up. My name is Darro Vess. I am what my people, the Quillith, would call a mid-tier surveyor. Which is a polite way of saying that I map boring rocks on boring planets for a boring salary while eating nutrient paste out of a tube. Glamorous? No. Safe? Usually. At least, it was supposed to be. The assignment was simple. Planet Keth, 9. Barren. Atmospheric rating, survivable. Expected life forms, none above grade 2. Expected danger level, minimal. My supervisor, Commander Utra, who has the personality of a dried fungal slab, told me it would be a routine scan. She smiled when she said it. She never smiles. I should have run then. I landed on Keth, 9 on what felt like a perfectly ordinary morning. The sky was orange, the ground was gray, and absolutely nothing was trying to kill me. Beautiful. I set up my scanning equipment, hummed a little tune, and started logging rock formations. Life was good. Life was peaceful. Life, unfortunately, was about to become very, very loud. The explosion came from the eastern ridge. Now, I want to be clear. I did not run toward the explosion because I am brave. I ran toward it because my scanning equipment was pointed in that direction, and if I lost that equipment, Commander Utra would deduct the cost from my pay for the next 6 cycles. Fear of poverty is a powerful motivator. What I found at the ridge was not a rock formation. It was a ship. A small one, sleek and angular, the kind that costs more than my entire home colony. It had crashed into the rock face with considerable enthusiasm, and pieces of it were scattered across a 50-meter radius like someone had sneezed a spacecraft. Fires burned in several places. Smoke rose in thick, dark columns. And in the middle of all of it, half buried under a section of hull plating, was a person. Not a Quillith. Something else entirely. She was tall, even by non-Quillith standards, with pale silver skin and hair the color of deep amber. Her features were sharp, almost geometric. She had 4 eyes, which I found startling mostly because 2 of them were currently glaring at me with an expression that said, very clearly, "Why are you just standing there?" "I am Sova Reth," she said. Her voice was calm. Almost insulting, given that she was pinned under debris. Third heir to the Reth sovereignty. And before you ask, yes, I need help. I blinked. The Reth sovereignty. Yes. As in the Reth sovereignty that controls 11 star systems and has a military fleet large enough to block out a sun. That is the one. And you crashed on Keth, 9. I did not crash, she said, with a dignity that was impressive for someone lying on the ground. I was shot down. There is a difference. I looked around nervously. Shot down by who? Hunters. Riven-class mercenaries. 6 ships. She paused. They will return in approximately 14 minutes to confirm the kill. 14 minutes. 6 ships. Riven mercenaries, who were famous across 3 sectors for being extraordinarily good at violence and extraordinarily bad at mercy. I stood there for a moment, doing a very rapid internal calculation that went something like this: help alien princess, possibly die, but maybe get reward. Do not help alien princess, definitely feel guilty forever, also possibly still die because mercenaries tend not to leave witnesses. I lifted the hull plating. It was heavier than I expected. I am not a strong person. I am a rock surveyor. My muscles exist primarily to carry a scanning kit and occasionally open stubborn ration containers. But something about the situation, perhaps the adrenaline, perhaps the sheer absurdity of it all, gave me enough to drag that plating aside. Sova stood up slowly. She was injured. Her left arm hung at an angle that made me uncomfortable just looking at it. But she stood up straight, adjusted her collar with her good hand, and looked at me with an expression that I could not quite read. "You are Quillith," she said. "Yes. Your species is not known for bravery. We prefer the term, cautious optimists." Something shifted in her expression. Not quite a smile. Something more complicated than that. "Do you have a ship, cautious optimist?" "A survey shuttle." "It is not fast." "It has a drive?" "Yes." "Then it is fast enough." She started walking, favoring her right side. "Move quickly. And do not trip over anything. There is no time for it." I grabbed my scanning kit, because again, that equipment is expensive, and I followed an alien princess across a burning crash site on a planet nobody had ever cared about, with 6 mercenary ships closing in and exactly 13 minutes left to do something that was almost certainly going to change my entire life. I was right about that part. 13 minutes sounds like a reasonable amount of time, until you are actually running for your life with it. My survey shuttle was parked roughly 400 meters from the ridge. 400 meters of uneven, rocky, smoke-covered ground, shared between myself, one injured alien princess, and the growing certainty that I had made a catastrophic life decision. Sova moved fast despite her arm. I moved fast despite my general philosophy against physical exertion. Together we made a surprisingly decent pair of people who very much did not want to die. "What is your name?" she asked, not even breathing hard. Meanwhile I was already wheezing. "Darro," I managed. "Darro Vess." "Darro Vess," she repeated, like she was filing it somewhere important. "Have you ever flown evasive patterns under fire, Darro Vess?" "I once flew around a particularly aggressive dust storm." She looked at me sideways with 2 of her 4 eyes. "That is not the same thing." "I know." We reached the shuttle. It is a modest vessel. Practical. The kind of ship that says, very loudly, "I am not a threat to anyone." It has exactly one weapon, which is a proximity alarm that beeps loudly. I had always considered this charming. Sova considered it with an expression usually reserved for discovering something unpleasant on the bottom of a shoe. "It will do," she said, and climbed in. I punched the ignition before the hatch was fully sealed. The shuttle groaned, shuddered, and lifted with the enthusiasm of something that had not been asked to hurry in a very long time. Through the viewport, I watched the eastern sky. Clear. Still clear. Still. 3 ships dropped out of low orbit simultaneously, and they were absolutely not there to sightsee. Riven mercenary vessels are built with one priority. That priority is not comfort. It is not fuel efficiency. It is not even navigation accuracy. It is the singular, focused, almost artistic ability to make other ships stop existing. They were angular and dark and bristling with things that I did not want pointed at me. They were pointed at me. "Go left," Sova said. "There is a rock formation to the left. Go left anyway." I went left. The first shot scorched the ground exactly where we had been. The rock formation exploded into a cloud of debris that rattled against the hull like an extremely angry hailstorm. The proximity alarm beeped. I found it significantly less charming than usual. "Now up," she said. "Into open space. Where they can shoot us more easily. Where I can access their targeting frequency and blind them." She had already pulled a panel from my console with her good hand, which was both impressive and mildly alarming. Wires hung out. She sorted through them with the calm focus of someone who had done this before, or at least someone who refused to admit they had not. I went up. The second ship banked hard to follow. The third cut wide to flank us. The first one was still recalibrating from the near miss. Sova worked through the wires with a speed that was either genius or desperation, and at that moment I was not sure there was a meaningful difference. 20 seconds, she said. One of the ships fired again. I pulled the shuttle sideways so hard my head hit the console. A scorched trail burned across the hull. Every alarm I had went off at once, all of them beeping at slightly different pitches in a sound that could only be described as a symphony of imminent failure. "That is not 20 seconds. I said. 15 now. Stop complaining. 2 more shots." I rolled the shuttle, Dove, pulled up hard. The survey shuttle, to its eternal credit, did not break apart. It complained, loudly and mechanically, but it held together with the stubbornness of something that had survived 17 years of rock surveys and was not about to be beaten by mercenaries. Then the targeting systems on all 3 ships went dark. Not damaged. Not destroyed. Just dark. The ships themselves were fine, flying perfectly well, but they were shooting blind. Their shots went wide, then wider, then stopped entirely as their pilots clearly tried to figure out what had gone wrong with their extremely expensive targeting arrays. Sova leaned back. "There." I stared through the viewport at 3 very confused mercenary ships drifting in different directions like they had each independently decided to take a break. "You did that from my survey console," I said. "Your survey console has a surprisingly adaptable signal emitter. It is for measuring mineral density in sedimentary rock. It is now also for blinding Riven targeting arrays." She looked at the wires in her hand with something close to satisfaction. "Your people build durable equipment, Darro Vess." I sat in silence for a moment, watching the mercenary ships recede behind us as I pushed the shuttle toward the outer atmosphere. My hands were shaking. My heart was doing things hearts are probably not supposed to do at this pace. My proximity alarm was still beeping, just quietly now, as if it also needed a moment to process what had happened. "They will recalibrate," Sova said. Her voice had shifted. The sharpness was still there, but something else had come into it. Something quieter. "We need to reach a relay beacon within the next 2 hours. My people will send ships once I transmit a location." "Where is the nearest relay beacon?" "Veth Station. 14 light minutes out." "I know Veth Station," I said. "I resupply there between surveys." She turned and looked at me then. All 4 eyes, full attention. There was something in that look that I could not name. It was not quite gratitude. It was deeper than that, and more complicated, and it made me feel like a person who had just walked through a door they did not realize would lock behind them. "You lifted that plating," she said. "You did not have to. I needed my equipment. You grabbed the equipment after." A pause. "Darro Vess. When this is over, when my family's ships arrive and the Riven hunters are dealt with, you will be asked what you want as compensation." She said it plainly, the way someone states a fact about weather. "Think carefully about your answer. My family does not offer twice." I set the course for Veth Station. The stars stretched ahead of us, calm and indifferent, the same stars I had charted and surveyed and filed boring reports about for years. Something told me I would not be filing boring reports anymore. I was right about that too. Friends, if you are enjoying our videos and want to watch new and exciting sci-fi and HFY stories every day, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to turn on the bell icon so you never miss any of our latest uploads. Like the video and share it with your friends as well, so our community can continue to grow and bring you even more amazing content.